In your words, what does the county board do?
The county board, in my words, is, I mean, from what I know, is that they are responsible for um, things such as, um, like they were in charge of reporting the COVID numbers, um, efforts to for recycling, environmental issues.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just policies throughout, setting policies throughout the county.
Okay. And broadly speaking, why are you running for office this year?
I am running because I would like to see more Democrats on the board so that the interest and the values that we hold be will be done throughout our community.
Okay.
And when I say that, I'm talking about environmental issues. For instance, a couple of years ago, there was a push to have a recycling center
Mm-hmm.
in Decatur, and I think that would have been a fantastic thing for the community. And unfortunately, that did not work out. And now we're in the situation where, excuse me, most of Decatur, as far as I know, unless something has changed, the recycling program is no longer happening, um, which, that doesn't help matters. And we just had um, the the Supreme Court basically take away the rules of the EPA, and then we are not getting things done like honest. That's going to affect the state level, that's federal. We're not getting things done like we should, as far as the environment is concerned. And
Mm-hmm.
clearly, as you can see, even today, what's going on, there's a problem, and it affects communities, and
Mm-hmm.
especially poor communities. And um, something needs to be done on the community level, I feel. If you can't have the federal doing any, the EPA's hands are tied now, then you have to have something done in the community by the county. And, methane gas is also a problem. And the more you landfill things, the more methane gas you have. That is a problem that is adding to global warming. And so once again, if on a community level, if we tackled some of these things, whether it be through composting, recycling, just making a better effort, stopping, people from burning, which only adds more heat to the environment, things like that, I feel need to be taken more seriously. And I just don't feel that, with the current structure that we have, those things are going to become a priority. So that is one thing that I would like to see happen and would like to be a part of making happen. And then also there is, the transparency, for instance, of COVID. Um, that affects our community too.
Mm-hmm.
And it's important to be transparent so that people can be healthy and informed and make informed decisions. And there's so many things that, are working against the average person.
So you mentioned the transparency regarding COVID.
Right, right.
Um, could you be a little bit more specific about how you'd like to change what's being done currently, or how to make COVID reporting more transparent?
I don't really have any specifics. I just know that it's been dialed back. And I don't think that that is the right approach. And even going into the future, COVID isn't going to be the only thing like that. I mean, it's not just going to be COVID. There's more things that we have to worry about in the future too. So that could be worse than COVID. I just don't. I feel that you should be transparent with your community and letting them know exactly what's going on rather than keeping information from them. And in the end, what is the gain of that?
Mm-hmm.
So those are some things that I would like to see changed and would like to be a part of. So those are like my main driving factors for wanting to be on the county board.
Okay, so your two of your primary things would be addressing environmental issues at a local level, since the federal government has less power in regard to
Right,
environmental issues now, and
right,
then more transparency regarding COVID and other public health information.
right,
Okay.
right.
Right. My next question was, what are your three biggest priorities for the county board? But I mean, you pretty well went over that already. Do you have anything, another one maybe to add?
Um, so the other thing is, with a Republican majority, which we have currently, um, that has resulted in redistricting.
Mm-hmm.
And the redistricting has negatively affected minority communities, minority people.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore, you've got you've now have districts within the county voting districts where um, Republicans outnumber the Democrats. So even if you do have a Democrat running in that area, the chances of them winning is very slim.
Okay.
And it doesn't represent, it's not representative of the people. And I mean, I guess I just feel like, um, once again, what are you doing to your community when you're not representing the whole community? And if you're not letting people's views and things that are going to better their lives and help them and make amends for those, or make pass ordinances or laws to address those things and help those people out and make things better. um, it doesn't, like, it only negatively affects those people. And then you have things like, you know their crime goes up. All of those things are a direct result of that. If you're holding people back and you're keeping them down and you're not giving them a fair shake, and the priorities of the community are just around a certain few.
Mm-hmm. So do you believe that the redistricting will lead to more Republicans being elected than is representative of the actual community makeup?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
All right. So your three biggest concerns are environment, transparency, and the redistricting.
Right.
What do you think are the three biggest priorities for voters on the political left? Just pretty short summary.
The three biggest priorities for voters on the political left, is that what you said?
Yes.
I would think that it would be environment and um, equal rights
Mm-hmm.
and the economy.
Okay. And what do you think are the three biggest priorities for voters on the political right?
Um, I would say gun rights,
Mm-hmm.
abortion, anti-abortion, um, yeah, and yeah, and I guess just, and it kind of just goes with the abortion kind of just like also goes with, the rights of um, minorities um, and when I say minorities, I'm talking about or minorities or people who are uh, are of the LGBTQ community.
Okay.
Just people. Yeah, you get what I'm saying.
So as far as rights of minorities and LGBTQ, what do you see the goals of the political right being as far as those go? Like, are
I
they
think it's. Go ahead. Sorry.
are they trying to protect the rights of minorities and LGBTQ, or take rights away,
No,
or
no, take rights away.
okay?
Right.
Um, all right. And what what policy proposals or legislation have you written or are currently planning to write?
I have not written any because I have not been in a position like this before. Um,
Okay.
but I would say, um, again, definitely um, policies on the environment and policies on protecting minorities and, people in the LGBTQ communities,
Okay.
um, and voters' rights too. I mean, it's a big it's a big deal
Okay.
because
So
if you're not letting people vote, then nothing is going to change. If you can't, yeah.
what kind of policies would you like to pass regarding voters' rights?
Um, I would say the redistricting.
Okay. So you're interested in reversing the redistricting?
Yeah, I
Okay.
think it's yeah.
Is there anything else?
No. I mean, I
Okay.
can't. I can't really think of. I mean, those are like the major things that I find
Okay, that makes and
to be addressed.
I didn't give
Yeah.
you the questions ahead of time, so of course you didn't have time to prepare. Um, all right, then what? I guess this is going to be kind of redundant. What existing county board policies and legislation would you like to change or overturn, if it's something we haven't already discussed?
Yeah, that would be the thing. And I'm sure that there's always room for improvement. So, I mean, there very well could be other things that I would feel strongly about changing as well. But I don't know everything that they, um, have passed. I don't know everything yet. So,
Okay. All right. Then is there anything else you would like to add regarding your political platform?
no, I think that we pretty much covered it. So,
All
yeah.
right, great. Thank you. Then we will move on to your political experience and ambitions. Um, have you held any elected offices in the past? Well, you said you hadn't.
I have not.
Okay. Do you plan to run for office again in the future?
I will see what happens this time. I would like to continue to be involved, and I have a lot of things that I would like to see changed and that I am upset about. And it's hard to do something if you're not an elected official.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So, yeah, um, rather than just complaining about things and being upset about things, it would better serve me and others that I know too are upset about things to take action. So, yes, if I can, I would like to run again or be in some sort of position that drives change.
Okay. If you run again, do you think it would be the same office, or would you maybe go bigger, or run in a municipal election, or do you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. And what other relevant experience do you have, such as like political volunteering, serving on nonprofit boards, secretarial work, or whatever you might think is relevant to serving?
Um, I during when I was working, I was on an environmental committee and did a lot of work um, with my employer to drive environmental changes. Um,
Are you able to share the employer information?
yes, I can do that. It was at Tate and Lyle.
Okay. And around about what time would you say that was?
That was, I did it from, I would say, I was involved probably 3 or 4 years, maybe five. And that was like from about 2010 to 2015.
Okay. And so was your job being on the environmental committee, or did you have another job there and the committee was just part of your work?
The so yeah, I had a different job there, but I did that as because I was interested in it, and a committee was forming, and so I joined and did a lot on the committee and worked with people throughout the organization to implement um, recycling efforts and things of that nature.
Okay. Would you say you had? Were there any big wins you'd like to mention?
Um, I can't really think of anything right now off the top of my head because it's been a while.
Mm-hmm.
But we did start. I mean, we implemented. We set up recycling bins throughout. All of the buildings, and um, we went basically from not recycling at all to improving that, and then um, I don't, yeah, I don't remember like the metrics or, the numbers.
Right.
Um, but we did do a lot. Like it was, we tried to get out to like all of I worked with all of like the plant people in the different operating facilities to, make sure that they were recycling and, um, yeah, and then, you know, it went beyond, just recycling paper and plastic. We started identifying things, materials throughout the plant that could be recycled too, and worked with, oh, there's a waste management company up in Clinton. We worked with them to boost our, you know, our our pickups and with or not waste management, with the place in Decatur too. I can't think of the name of it right now.
Midwest Fiber, I
Yes,
believe.
Midwest Fiber. Yeah, we work with Midwest Fiber too. So, um, yeah. So I did that, and as far as like environmental is concerned, and then politically, I have worked for the Macon County Democrats. I started volunteering with them in 2018, and then worked throughout the election cycle. And then I once again volunteered um, in 2020 and did a lot of work for them during the election.
Could you
And
list just two or three of the things you did in that
okay,
volunteering?
I became a voter registrar, and I did a lot of voter registration events.
Okay.
I did several at Richland, and um, there were a couple of just different like community events that I went to and got voters to register as well. And then I did ballot chasing, which is, identifying voters who voted or who chose to vote by mail,
Okay.
and followed up with them to make sure, they had the information that they needed as far as like, if they had any questions about how to fill out the ballot, because unfortunately there is a lot of confusion around that. People get the ballot in the mail and they don't really understand all of like what they're supposed to do with it and what envelopes to use. And yeah, for some it can just be overwhelming. And, so I was reaching out to people to make sure, if they had any questions, to answer the questions for them, to help them get their ballot back to um, the county, whether that be, you know,
May I interrupt you
yeah,
there?
yeah,
Uh, so we're coming up on half an hour, and I have a
okay,
few questions left.
okay, okay,
I I don't mind if we run long, but I would like to respect your time.
okay, okay.
So you, with the Macon County Democrats, you did the voter registration and you did the ballot chasing. Were there
Right.
any other like big things that you did?
And then I organized the poll watchers
Okay.
and worked with them. And then on election day, worked with people from like the Democratic Party, as far as, making sure that the day was going okay and reporting numbers back to them.
Okay. All right. And so you did this kind of stuff in both 2018 and 2020?
I did more in 2018, but in 2020, I did more of like the work just on election day, and I did a lot of ballot chasing too.
Okay. All right. Then uh, I'll ask a few more specific questions that were
Okay.
submitted by voters. One of them was how will you protect voting rights, but we already have talked about that, so I won't make you answer that again. What are your budget goals?
To be honest, I don't really know. Um, I don't
Okay.
I don't know enough right now about how their budget works or, how they allocate their money to certain things. But again, I do feel like money should be allocated to such things as the environment and public health.
Okay. All right. What are your goals regarding taxes?
Um, Again, I don't really know like what they're doing right now on a tax level.
Okay.
Um, but
And I can also, we can follow up later to get some answers to these things that
okay,
you
okay, okay.
haven't completely figured out yet too.
Yeah, that would probably be best.
Okay. And how will you address crime?
Well, again, I think that crime is a direct result of people being, their economic situation. So if you can if you can give people, um, you know, in their community, you can give them bring jobs here that are going to pay.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just talking about um, minimum wage or, if you can bring good paying jobs with benefits, that does a lot for people.
Mm-hmm.
And it just like with the abortion thing, the more it's been proven that um, when you take that away from people and you are forcing people to have children when they can't even afford to sustain themselves or the people that they are already responsible for because of the way things are,
Mm-hmm.
um, it only, you already have the crime because, again, crime is a result of people not having what they need.
Okay.
And so it only increases that number. So yeah, again, protecting reproductive rights is important, and I feel will help for that. Would help, fight against that because it's only going to add to it. And then, um, and crime too. Crime is also, women being being murdered because they're pregnant. Like that happens a lot, and yeah, I mean, there's more crime than that, obviously,
Mm-hmm.
but um, when people don't have their needs met, then that's what happens. Like people resort to crime to for money, for food, for their necessities, and yeah, so making sure that you're not leaving people behind and you are trying to better the lives of people
Okay. So you're looking
will help
to
that.
address economic situations by bringing in jobs, uh, fight for reproductive rights, and And you're concerned that people will resort to crime when their basic needs are not met.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We've. Um, do you have time for one more question before we go to
Yeah,
closing?
that's fine.
Okay, cool. All right. So, from what sources do you get most of your news?
I get the majority of my news from the New York Times.
Okay. Are there any other sources that you tend to
And NP,
trust?
if it's not New York Times, then it's NPR.
Okay. Is there like a particular NPR channel, or does it vary?
I usually just go to their website. It's npr.org,
Okay.
and yeah, so they not only like cover and have on their website the reports that they, the audio, but they also, just do their own reports as well. So
Okay.
like written reports.
Are there any uh, news sources on the political right that you maybe occasionally listen to or read to try to get an understanding of the opposition?
I do not.
Okay. All right. Well, that's all the questions I have, so I'll go to my little outro speech.